Hi, welcome. I am grateful today to be with my friend and cybersecurity expert, Mack Jackson Jr. And if you don't know me, I'm Tara Rayburn, virtual meeting concierge, and all things that have to do with meeting online, and both for personal groups as well as business owners and corporations. And gonna introduce you and get going right away with Mack. He's got a short amount of time because as far as his expertise of cybersecurity, as you can imagine, the man is in demand. He is definitely. Hi, Mack. How are you?
Great, Tara. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Just grateful that you had this time for us. I'm real happy that you are able to come talk with us. Um, can you do me a quick check? Your screen, are you seeing me speak right now, or is it on you?
I see both of us
Okay, good. Okay, because it's
side by side.
showing. Okay, there we go.
Hmm.
I always check because everybody has individualized screens and whatnot.
Yes.
So, all right. There's so much, and I interviewed you. It had to have been 2 or 3 years ago. I interviewed you,
Hmm.
and I'm really embarrassed to say it took me up until now to get a VPN.
Really?
I am so sorry. Don't be disappointed in me, my friend. Just there's always something going on, and I think what people have realized now with everything that's happening, and this is being recorded in the spring of 2020, which we'll all remember.
Hmm.
But security has become a major issue. So many companies or employees, everybody's working from home, so that's a whole another level of security. And
That's
what sparked me to call you about getting together and talking was within a week I started getting major spoofs. If for those of you who don't know, that's when, well, you could probably describe it better, but basically someone's using your email to email out junk mail. Is that accurate description of that, Matt?
yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I had major spoofs happening. It seemed to be Eastern Europeans really liked me,
Hmm.
and then I had my browser hijacked, and I caught it pretty quickly because I was like, wait a minute, my browser doesn't look right. And it seems like there was a third thing that happened. And I was getting lots of weird emails, like you said before.
Hmm.
So I was like, that day literally I got the VPN. I dropped Google Chrome. I used Brave, and I don't know how you feel about that and what we're going to get into, but I was like, I'm calling Mac. So here we are. Um, what I tell you what, I'm going to just hand it over to you. What are some of the topics that you're seeing happening, and give us a little rundown on what type of business you do and your area of expertise from your words, not mine.
Not a problem, Tara. Not a problem. What I do is basically help companies mitigate the damages of cyber attacks by training their employees and educating them on the type of attacks that hackers try to perform. And notice I said try to perform, because if we can mitigate them, and if we know what they look like, we can avoid them. These hackers they come at you in all kinds of ways through technology, and also the old-fashioned method, from phone calls, scams over the phone, even using the US mail, sending you information in the mail and getting people to respond. And even using your mailbox. So that's, matter of fact, that's an interesting one too. The mailboxes and in your neighborhoods. You know how we have the mailboxes in our neighborhoods that everybody has one mailbox that we all go to, and a central location for all of our mail. Well, hackers, or let's just say criminals, besides just hackers, criminals, they would go to these mailboxes and they would break them open and steal your mail. And if they can steal your mail, they can redirect applications for credit cards, refinancing your homes, any type of document and information. They can redirect it to a new mailing address. So tell the creditor, oh yeah, that's where I live, but I like you to send my mail to this different address. And they can redirect your mail and everything as well. So hackers are using all types of criminal techniques that have been used for thousands of years, but they're adding technology to it in order to compromise our personal identifiable information. Now, they would use this, I think of it as your personal information as a jigsaw puzzle. And each piece of the puzzle is a part of your personal identifiable information. Hackers will collect this particular piece of information and develop this puzzle, then in turn use it to sell to other hackers in the darknet, or use it for criminal adventures, right? So we have to be aware of these type of activities, and we have to know where information is. We have to know where these pieces of our jigsaw puzzles are located, and to protect them and make sure that they're not being sold or used by hackers throughout the world.
Wow, and that's a lot to look for. And I know you get asked this question a lot, but what would you say are the top 3 things someone can do, whether they're with a corporation or they're an individual business owner or just on a personal level, top 3 things that people should do to protect themselves as far as the web?
Well, the top 3 things. Well, one of the things you and I talked about before some years ago is the VPN, virtual private network. It's really, really important, imperative. What that basically does, it cloaks your machine with like a cloud of, like a shield around it, giving you an extra layer of protection. So when hackers are looking at routers to see what computers are accessible, your machine will give you a sense of invisibility to the hackers so they can't see your particular device. And that's the main thing. The second one would be a antivirus software. Antivirus software. There's several of them that you should have that you could purchase or download for free from the Google Store or the iTunes Store. And notice I said Google and iTunes Store. That means that they're connected to your smartphone. That's right, your smartphone. Because when I mention antivirus software, everybody definitely understands what I'm talking about when it comes to a laptop and desktops. But what about their smartphone? Smartphones are now the low-hanging fruit for hackers because that's where everybody, they're nothing more than a computer. And that's where hackers are going to because people don't have any of these type of VPNs or antivirus software on their smart devices. And hackers are going after people from their smartphone using text messages and SMS messages, sending out advertising to people now through text messaging. You'll click on a link on your phone.
Quick question. So the VPN that I recently got, it does let you load it on your phone as well. It's same account. So that means I'm covered with my phone and in my computer, the devices that it's on, correct?
I would say it depends, but more than likely, yes. So if people say covered,
Oh, I know. As much as you can be covered, you still don't want to click certain things.
I have a legal background too, so
That's
like,
what makes you perfect. Yeah, perfect for this. You know, okay. Well, I don't want to get off track. So VPN is the first one,
VPN,
and what would be the second?
antivirus software.
Oh yeah, yeah, antivirus software. Now with that, what do you recommend? Because I know that Mike, for instance, he was hacked. It was somebody who took over his browser, and it was in the guise of a antivirus software. So can you tell me a little bit about what to look for when you're, or even some that you could recommend that are reputable?
Well, sure. There are the major ones that are out there, and they're not sponsors of mine. They would include McAfee, Norton VPN is probably one of the best ones that are out there now.
And that's VPN as well as antivirus software. And by the way, I'm looking down because I always take notes when I talk to you. Even though this is recorded, I know better. There's just so much stuff. I mean, how long did it take me to follow your advice? But I did it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes.
Okay, so McAfee, Norton VPN, and then
NordVPN. Those are the major players for antivirus software. There are lots of other companies that are out there coming up with their versions of antivirus software, but those are the major ones.
Okay.
It's better to have something on your machine than nothing. And also, did you know that if you are especially here in Nevada and in Las Vegas, if you're using Cox Communications and you're a Cox Communication customer, Cox Communication has a CyberSecurity suite that you can get for free, and it doesn't cost you anything as a customer.
All right, question. So I have Cox Internet. I dropped, like I had DirecTV, you know, I dropped that kind of service, you know, and so I don't have the actual, you know, shows and things like that through Cox, but I have the internet and I have the upgraded Big Daddy Fast, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So is that where I can get the suite if I have that, or do I have to have their satellite, or not satellite, their cable service?
I believe it's just with the internet service. If you have
Okay.
Cox internet service, you can have their suite of McAfee as included in your plan.
Okay. And so you would get that for your TV, because obviously people can access through your TV if you're going on the web on your TV.
Well, yes, and you're using the internet in your
Oh
home.
my gosh, there's so much to this. Okay, but that's good to know. I'm going to get in touch with them and see
Mhm.
about that, because I have what I did for my computer and my phone, but Zach's not protect. Well, yeah, that's really smart to say over the
It will be
internet.
after this call.
That's right. I'm going to do this immediately.
There you
But
go.
but anyway, anybody coming into your home isn't going to
Mhm.
be secure. So I
Right,
get that. That makes
right.
sense to me. Okay. All
And,
right. Go
and the
ahead.
third one,
Yes.
and the third one is passwords. Password management system. Make sure you have a password management system. If you look at all of the websites you visit, you did the Zoom very well is by including a password to log into it, because that's now one of the biggest things is Zoom bombing.
Oh,
Amazing.
it's brutal. Yeah, I've never had one personally, but I've been on a call, and then I just recently,
Mhm.
well, I'll tell you, and then have you explain the Zoom bombing. I know on the Zoom end, it wasn't Zoom's fault. People were posting their links publicly. And
Right,
if you do that, anybody can jump in.
right.
And I recently, a family member in Florida, she was doing a social Zoom
Mhm.
and had somebody come in and Zoom bomb. And the images that they put on were so vile, she had to actually call the FBI. I
Yeah,
mean, so it wasn't harmless, it was brutal. So
yeah,
um, so talk to us about that.
yeah. Zoom bombing is like, let's see, anyone that's probably over, let's say, 45 would remember back in the day when had telephones with the rotary dials, and you'd have party lines.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that.
Someone, and all of a sudden you hear someone on the line with you going, "Hey, well, we're on this line now. You got to hang up, right?"
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
the original bombing back in the day. Before there were even photo bombing, there was telephone bombing
Wow.
back in the day. And so now we fast forward and we have things like, photo bombing, where you're taking a picture, a selfie, and someone jumps in the photo and gets part or disturbs your photo, right?
Right.
We move forward to now Zoom bombing, where you're in a call like we're on now, and someone joins the call uninvited, unannounced, and they're part of the Zoom call. And it's happening a lot now, especially during the quarantine. Zoom has increased their number of customers, like over 300%. Some number I heard recently of how many people now on Zoom. And one of the ways that Zoom is suggesting that is when you do calls like this, is to make sure you have a password and you change that password for your next call. Every Zoom meeting you have, you change your password, so you can't get people joining your meeting that are uninvited.
So you could have your personal room open. For people who don't understand Zoom as much, you can have a different Zoom each show or interview or Zoom you do, or you can have your personal meeting room, which is what happened on the call I was on.
Right?
This woman was using her same room that she always uses and no
Yep.
password. And so she thinks maybe some former students came in and did the Zoom bomb. Theirs was harmless. And they were actually smart. They said, it's not bombing, it's not hacking if you posted your link publicly. So you can be in your personal room and just change out the password while you're in the room.
Before you do your meeting.
Oh, okay. So you do need to log out and come back in. That's okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
before you start your
important to
meeting.
know, because I
Yeah,
have somebody that's going to be doing that soon, and we need to make sure we password protect that.
yeah, definitely password protected. I
Yeah. And
was
also,
I was in a Zoom meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was really interesting. It reminded me of a story of those movies you see on TV where you get these drunk group of guys walking into a bar, and soon they walk in a bar, they're drunk and they're looking around, and everybody's in there as a biker with a gun, like they've been into the wrong bar.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it was like coming to our meeting, because we're all law enforcement and hackers. this, this guy shows up and he stands up and he's completely naked, right? So we're just looking at him like, dude, you're in the wrong meeting. And so one of the guys was talking to him just to keep him online, while another group of guys went and hacked his account.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. He didn't know what he was getting into. Oh my goodness.
Right.
You know, and it's important. I do a lot of coaching people on Zoom because there's so many
Mhm.
people that have to use it or want to use it and just have no clue. When you're
Right.
setting up a meeting, it's important, or if you're in it right now, you can go in and disallow people to screen share. And that's a
Yes.
biggie. You know,
Yes.
as well as nobody, you know, the waiting room feature is fantastic because if you don't know the
Yes.
person. Now, if it's a public thing, it's a little more difficult, but a lot of times with public ones, people come in muted and no video. So that's
Right.
helpful. So then
Right.
you just
That is
have to
helpful.
worry about the chat room and things like
Right.
that. But wow. Do you know if they ever caught that guy?
I don't know. I haven't heard back, but two of the guys on the call were from the FBI as well, so
Oh
it's
my
really
gosh.
interesting.
That's great. That's
Yeah, because
great.
in our business as speakers, it's been stated that Zoom and these video is where the market's going to go for us to continue our brand, right? Our services. It's going to be interesting to see because, as IT people, we've talked about Zoom and we've used Zoom and Zoom type videos for years, but it's going to be interesting to see if the market will accept this type of communication for speakers and doing training.
Well, I tell you, they are because of necessity. I know Mike
That's
had
good to hear.
he had a bunch of dates, you know, of course, cancel with everything or postpone, and
Sure.
he actually went ahead and has done some custom filming as well as live Zooms. I know a lot of speakers are doing that. I'm actually working as room moderator for a friend of mine who she partners with people that are doing the big road construction projects, and so
Right.
we're, you know, she's a fantastic trainer. She's been doing it for years, but she's had to completely shift into online. And so that's what I do is I help people. Okay, so here you put your PowerPoint here and either send it to me and I show it. So people are doing it. Now, what's going to be interesting is I know Zuckerberg recently said they're going to roll out Facebook's version of Zoom.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't know that it's out yet. Have you heard anything about when it's coming out or if it's out or what it's
I
going
haven't
to
heard
be
about
like?
when, I haven't heard about when it's going to come out yet. That's going to
Okay.
be very interesting.
Yeah, because there's already security issues.
Mhm.
And at the risk of getting this video like dropped later on, um, he started, I don't know if you saw that when he was
Uh-oh, did
rolling out.
I lose you there?
Yeah, yeah, can you see me? I know you froze.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
There, you're back now.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I know Zach's doing school upstairs, so you never know. No, what I was going to say is when Zuckerberg was releasing the information about all this, he started off with talking about how Facebook is going to how they are monitoring what people are saying and they are doing some censorship.
Hmm.
And you know, so he started with that and then he ended by saying all these chat room, I don't know if he's calling them chat rooms will be private. And so I'm kind of like, you know, and then of course some people were like, well, it's freedom of speech, you know, how can they well, it's a company, it's not a
Right.
government owning. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, but I
Absolutely.
know corporations are not likely to use that platform because Facebook is notorious for either censorship or, you know, other issues for security for corporations. I would
Yeah.
imagine it's a big machine and hacking is very
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah, and
What's
they're
your
a
take?
target.
Yeah,
They're a target. They're definitely a target, and hackers will definitely focus in on Facebook and try to look for any vulnerability. So they'll come up with this new program. It needs to be vetted and tested continuously, and they need to have a plan of how to mitigate if any of these attacks happen and what to do. Just like we have talked about in my industry with other consultants in security years and years ago on business continuation. If there was a crisis like we're in now, how do we recover or how do we protect ourselves? And this, what we're going through right now, is a perfect example of what I have been trying to do and other people in my industry, professionals talking to companies and businesses like, hey, what would happen if we didn't have access to food, or if we lost our jobs, what would we do? What would you do? It's more than just relying on savings. And now we're going through an example of that.
absolutely. Um, wow, there's just so many directions I can go. And I know you've got
Oh,
another meeting after this.
no
We've
problem.
got
You're
a
good.
we've got about 10 minutes. What in your mind, I mean, I asked you some things. Let us know what you think are really the places that people need to think about. I mean, everyone's doing their banking online now. I mean, I worry about, people hijacking my screen. I actually sometimes will put something over my screen.
Oh
And
yeah, I do all my laptops. I have um, types of shields that covers that you can buy on Amazon. They're really cheap
yeah.
and inexpensive.
And I heard that the light doesn't always come on. I mean, there can be someone looking through the camera on your phone or your computer without that light coming on. Is that accurate?
True. I was in a demo and I seen that. In Vegas we have the conventions here, DevCon and Black Hat conventions, and I've actually I was sitting in a lecture and I saw a group of hackers actually do that. Could actually turn on a laptop and turn on the camera without the light coming on, and you never know that I saw it.
And how, I mean, how how do they get access to your computer? Is it just through they hack? Tell me about that, because
But you
that's
had
freaky.
you had the original answer that when we first talked. The first thing we talked about in this conversation was
VPNs.
VPN. VPNs, right. That's one of the things. They didn't have a VPN set up, and they were able to turn on the actual camera. Because it's all code. It's all, code. The code is, if you, it's like switches, right? This switch, one meaning on and zero meaning off, so you turn the actual camera on, but you turn the light off. It's just logic and coding. And
Wow.
it was coded that way, so it could be done that way. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So
that's
now we're going to cover it with tape or buy one of those covers. So
yes.
what's another area that you want people to be aware of?
Be aware of their personal information in social media. That's the major thing. Because remember, it's a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, you think of your personal information as a jigsaw puzzle, and parts and pieces of that puzzle. Again, one of the pieces may have where you work at. Another piece may have your social security number, your address, your personal information, and you put all these pieces together. You need to make sure when you're on social media, you're giving out your information online, that it is with a legitimate company that you're giving it to. And again, you still have to ask them questions. What are you going to do with this information? Why do you need to have that? Why didn't you give you my social security number? Can we do it without the social
You,
security number?
Yeah, I thought about that because I'm helping the company that's doing hiring for security for the new stadium here, and I do Zoom interviewing for them, and I
It's like
thought
it
about
froze
that
a little
because
bit.
it's safe management. Oh, could you hear me at all, Mac?
There we go.
Way back. Okay, so yeah, it's telling me my internet's stable. My son must be up there going to town because I'm hardwired. Um,
No problem.
yeah,
Are
let
you
me
going to
double. Oh,
you're going to
actually,
send it live?
what's that?
Are you going to send it live over Facebook?
Um, I might do that. I'm going to see. It should have fed into YouTube, but
Okay.
I will have the video and I can edit it, and so I will try to put it up there. I like I had a hard time connecting my Zoom to Facebook, but I had no problem doing it to YouTube live. But I don't have what I actually do for a living. I don't have a room moderator to make sure all that stuff's flowing right now. So I'm doing
Sure.
all of it. But anyway, where we were going, oh yeah, I interviewed, got hired, did application. We did almost all the security stuff other than fingerprints online. And I'm thinking, I hope this is really a legit company because they have all my information. I did think about that.
Yeah.
But it's a security company and they're hiring, all the security staff for the stadium. And so there's
Mhm.
so many little places. In fact, you were going to say something earlier. You started to, and I probably interrupted you because there's so much to talk about. But as far as password management, I know
Yes.
I keep hearing you mentioned it on your Facebook page. What's the one that everybody's kind of referring to right now? There's a couple.
What a password management system is, it's a application or software app that is installed within your browser, and it will remember all of your user ID and passwords for you. It encrypts them where they cannot be readable to the hacker as well, or even not even to the password management company. So all you have to have is one master or main password and user ID, and the system will remember all of the browsers that you visit, what your user ID and your passwords are. The company I use is called LastPass.
Yeah,
L-A.
that's the one I keep hearing about.
Yes, it's a good company, and they are one of my sponsor or affiliate with LastPass. I've used them for years, and they've been really good. They
So
are they
I
are a
have a
target too by hackers. Hackers are trying to hack into their
well,
company.
yeah, that's like major
Right.
stuff. So my question is,
Mhm,
this is one of the other things that made me go, I've got to talk to Mac.
mhm,
Um, is if somebody has control of your screen, like my web guy, we work and he'll Zoom's easy because you can just do screen share. But I remember back when he used to go and he would actually have my screen. So
right.
if a hacker has hacked into your system and is able to view your screen,
Mhm.
even if you have LastPass, isn't that still compromised information?
If the hacker has your screen, if they're able to get to your screen and take control of your computer, if a hacker could take control of your computer, yes, they could go into LastPass from your computer and maybe redirect your, change your main password where you can't have access to it. Now you don't
Wow.
have access to it.
Wow.
Then you let LastPass know, then they would do a two-tier authentication. But there's ways to avoid that. Two-tier authentication is another
Can you
main way.
explain? I know what that is, but can you explain what that is?
I know we talked about three, but this is like 4 and 5 now.
I know, I know. We're,
But
we're
that's
going to wind up. I only got you for just a few more
Oh,
minutes.
not a problem, not a problem at all. So two-tier authentication is like when, let's say this is probably going to happen with these video meetings as well. So let's say you log into the Zoom meeting here to log in and you use your email address that it is legitimately you. Using two-tier authentication will send a code to another device, either email, a text message, or sometimes even a phone call with a robotic computer on the other end of it asking you to enter the code as a verification. And once that code is verified, then you're allowed to proceed into the application that you're using. It could be Zoom, it could be your bank, it could be any information on the internet. And that's a two-tier authentication.
Right.
If we add a third level, three-tier authentication, that would mean a text message code, and then use your fingerprint after that. And then fourth level will be your eye retina.
Gosh, man.
It's
Well, I
crazy.
know my phone does face recognition, and I wonder how secure that is. I mean, because we all have doppelgangers, we all have people that look like us. I wonder how accurate that is.
Yeah, I've seen lots of different studies on that as well, where they have taken a photo of the person walking down the street and take the photo of the person, and then use that photo as a way to get into the system.
Wow. That's, you know, I was always taught not to live in fear, be aware of situations, but not live in fear.
Yep.
And it sounds like, you've given us some tangible things to do to protect ourselves. And,
Mhm.
and really, when it comes down to it, bad guys, there's always going to be bad guys, and bad guys are always going to, try to do stuff like that. So you protect
Right.
yourself as much as you can.
Mhm.
What are some ongoing, we've just got a couple minutes, some things that people can do just on an ongoing basis, just to keep their finger on the pulse and make sure they haven't been hacked and their information isn't on the dark web and all that.
Well, the best thing they can do is use the technology in their favor. In other
Okay.
words, we use our social media to check on our friends on Facebook and all these types of websites. We have apps and we get notifications of any types of communications that our fans or friends have sent to us. Why don't we use that same thing when in regards to our financial institutions and our banks? In other words, like PayPal, if you have a PayPal account, any transaction you do with PayPal, they will send you a text notification basically stating that there's been a transaction on your account.
Yep.
That's thing should be used for any financial institutions, and you should check it. Not like in the back in the day where you check your bank statements at the end of the month. Nowadays, you need to check it daily. Basically, have an app on your phone from your bank, and if your bank has the capability of sending you notifications of any types of transactions, definitely take advantage of that and utilize that. That keeps you on top of that type of financial transactions. However, there's another one you should be concerned with too, and that's also your medical records. You should check with your insurance company and make sure that you're on top of any types of transactions that can affect your medical records, because medical identity theft is another fast growing. Um,
Well, that's going to be a whole nother show, right?
yes, that one. And then the next one, hopefully more shows out of this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The next one is home title fraud. Home
Yes, I've
title
heard a
fraud.
lot about that.
It's huge. I just had a mortgage broker on my show yesterday talking about. I'm going to post that interview I have this coming week regarding it, and information from the Attorney General's office and the Nevada Consumer Affairs office as well. I've talked to regarding it, and it's huge right now. Home identity theft, and home title fraud.
Yeah, we got to stay on top of a lot, but you've given us some good tools today. And I did put it over in the chat, but why don't you, for those, because I don't know that the chat goes to the YouTube station, but go ahead and give everyone your website and place. It sounds like you're doing a regular show as well. And
Yeah,
so give us that information. Just kind of give us a verbal on it.
sure, no problem. I'll put that in the chat as well. Of my show is Technology Review.
Hence
And
your nice little title up on your screen.
yes, that's right, Technology Review. You see the lower right left-hand corner there, the little laptop, what it says? Can you read it?
My
Hash,
eyes are bad. It's backwards, I think.
hashtag stay cyber woke.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's my hashtag. Stay cyber woke.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how often is your show?
Well, I try to do the show every week, and
Okay.
I have it up on YouTube that you can see the archives of the show. But I also post in my Facebook group, so I have a group on Facebook too. If you go to my website, you can find all the information. We also have T-shirts and cups as well that we sell, and
Oh,
all
you
the
got the swag. There you
we
go.
got the swag. It says "Stay Cyber Woke." It's kind of interesting when people see that. They're like, "Wow, stay
Yeah,
cyber woke." Huh? I go, "Yeah, definitely.
it makes sense. I get it. I get it.
What you're looking to do."
Well, Mac, I so appreciate your time and I so appreciate your expertise and how you share that with people
You're very
and
welcome.
your dedication to that. Thank you so much because, like I said, there's always going to be bad guys. Sometimes it's harder to find the good guys out there, and you're definitely in that camp. You are one of the good guys.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate it.
take care and big blessings, and we've already got topics for the next one, so we'll have to do that. And I will definitely let you know when this is ready to go live, or when I'm ready to post it elsewhere, and tag you in it too, my friend. Okay.
Anytime, sir.
All
Anytime.
right, thanks, Mac.
You're
All
welcome.
right, there we have it. Down and dirty quick session on cybersecurity with Mac Jackson Jr. And I encourage you guys to at least implement one of these steps that we talked about. If you don't have any of them, definitely hit one of them. And you might want to do it sooner than later because there's a lot of people with time on their hands right now, and there's a lot going on in our world. So you want to protect yourself. So take care, and until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.